Okay.
You're good. Okay, can you start by saying your first and last name and spelling it, please?
Steve McCluskey, STEVEMCCLUSKEY.
Okay, and can you tell us what term you're in currently as mayor?
I'm third term.
Okay. And can you just tell us what are your top 5 concerns coming in that you hope to see from the legislative session?
Well, the CDBG, little small towns like this, we survive on CDBG projects, along with USDA loans, have you, because our tax base is not, we don't have a lot of stores, we don't have a lot of tax base, and most of our people's retired. So when we get a CDBG grant, we're able to upgrade our sewer systems and different projects. But the legislature has put some of it on hold until they figure out what their budget's going to be, because they're going through a kind of a dark time right now with the budget since they cut out income tax. So they really don't know what they're, and I understand. I'd have to do the same thing if I was there. But small towns like us, we really just hope CDBG projects continue at a later date. Hopefully they'll come back pretty quick. I'm sure the governor and the congressmen and senators and everybody, they'll figure it out real quick. They're smart people.
And what were the notable concerns you saw within the city this year?
Well, we've handled, I'm gonna say we, mainly my police department, sheriff's department, we had a lot of drug activity in town. And our chief, Brent Purcell, he really took an active role. We still have problems. Everybody's still gonna have problems. But it's not this community is 100% better right now. Kind of our chief and sheriff's department and our policemen that work here, they're real dedicated. And it's kind of a community effort. We have some homeless people, transient people that come through, and we don't hate them. We're not going to mistreat them. But it's better now. It's a whole lot better. And like I say, just budget constraints. Our board of aldermen are dedicated to see McLain thrive, no matter what the cost is. And basically, it's finally come together after 10 years. It's finally coming together, and just proud of the whole community.
Are there any upcoming projects that you know that may help impact the community here? Maybe community centers or maybe youth centers that you guys have here?
We have a community center, which is under control of our supervisor, David Tingle. He does a good job with that. We're trying right now to acquire land, city land, to where we can maybe put in a playground. You can get grants to put in playgrounds for the kids, but it has to be on town property. And at this point, we don't have a whole lot of town property right here. And the property we have is so far out of the way, so we're going to be trying to acquire different projects around, trying to get the grants for it. We're in the process now trying to do some annexation to give us more visibility on the highway. And we're in the process of taking over a water system to help the community outside of McLain.
And what have been the notable improvements for the city this year?
Well, it probably hadn't been this year, but in this term, McLain has a bad flooding problem. Every time the Leaf River got up, it flooded our town. Along with MDOT, some say 2 million, 2.5 million. MDOT come in and put floodgates out on 98, and it holds the water back. So our little town doesn't flood like it used to. We haven't had the amount of rain and flooding we had in 2016. Hopefully, we don't get it, but if we do, we'll see if the floodgates really do work. But so far, they've worked real good. Like I said, our police department, community involvement. When you live in a small town, it's like living in a household and everybody's your family. You know, in your normal family, you really have people in there you don't really like and you wish they wasn't in your family, but they're in your family. So in McLain, we really don't see black and white. We see family. And if one person gets in trouble, you can see there'll be a lot of people show up. And we've really tried to work to make the community one. I don't want two communities. We're not going to have two heavens. We got one heaven, so we might as well learn here how to do it.
And I know you mentioned like flooding was bad at some point and now it's better, but do you all have a storm shelter since it is a small town, or is that something that you guys are looking forward to getting?
There's some storm shelters coming out that the legislation has provided to communities, but there again, you have to have city property to put it on. And we're trying to work with our emergency management director, Trent Robinson. Trent's been real good about keeping the whole community and the whole county as safe as possible. But we do have to acquire some property to put that on. But we're in the process of doing that and haven't been able to do it yet, but sooner or later it'll come through.
And I want to ask you like maybe two parts to this question. So what would you like to say to the community here in your small town, and how can the local community help with some of the issues?
Well, we have good community involvement if you need them. There's not anybody I can think of I can't call on, and they would come do whatever needs to be done for the town and the community. Of course, you're always going to turn to your pastors and your churches. And to be honest, the backbone of every community is the pastors and the churches. They stand ready to do God's work, and sometimes that's the only person that can guide the work needs to be done is God and the churches. So we have a pretty tight community. Of course, we have some people don't like me. Some people don't like the church. Some people don't do this. You're always going to have somebody that finds something negative. But we try not to thrive on the negative. We try to thrive on the positive. It's just, there's a lot of things we're working on. Like I said, annexation. We have to get our downtown area, since we're isolated from the traffic, we have to get our downtown area moved out on 98 so we're visible. And once we're visible, I'm hoping, and being visible is, I'm trying to get the town hall, the police department, and the fire department moved out on 98. Because it's only fair if we move out there first to let everybody know we're serious. Once we get moved out there. Of course, I'm not saying if they want to come first, that's okay with me. But main thing we need right now is a grocery store. And being kind of central area here, we have a lot of people who don't live in McLain and surrounding areas that would frequent that grocery store. So I want to make it easy for business to work here. I'm a Hardee's guy. I like to eat Hardee's biscuits every morning, so I like to have a Hardee's down here, and I've been fussing at the managers and the owners of Hardee's for years. You better come build me one, because I'm fixing to retire, and I can't go all the way to the coast every day to do it. So, but yeah, it's just a good community. If you have anybody that has prom dresses or tuxedos or anything like that, and they don't, they want to donate them. We have a program here. We'll take whatever you send us. We'll have it dry cleaned, and we'll put it in what's supposed to be my office. I haven't been in there but about twice. I got a little desk up front I work off of. But we'll put them in there, and us being in a impoverished area, I'd like to give my kids the opportunity to come by and pick out a prom dress, come pick out a tuxedo, whatever they have, because I want my kids, and they're my kids, when they go to prom, I want them to look just as good as everybody else does. But some of the parents can't afford it. You got single moms, you got hard-working dads. It's hard to do all that. So if y'all have any, send them to me. I promise you they'll be much appreciated.
So I'm pretty much done with my questions, but I would like for you to like kind of reiterate, maybe like in a list out like your top 5 concerns. I know you did say grocery store. You said city property, acquiring more city property.
Right.
Do you have any other concerns? Maybe like economic growth. It seems like is an issue here.
Well, economic growth. The only way we're going to get economic growth is more visibility on the highway. The only ones that come through town now, since they moved the highway, they relocated. The only people that come through this area right now is locals, local people. All your traffic, and we have a lot of traffic. I think last count I had, MDOT said we had 35,000 cars a day that come down 98. My goal is to get $1 of tax money out of every car, which I probably won't see it in my lifetime. But if I can get the property annexed and get on higher ground, that's going to stimulate our economic growth. And the main thing, every time I go to the service station on 98, I try to catch people from out of town and ask them, what would you like to see? And you know the funny thing, it's not a restaurant, it's not a hotel, it's not anything. They want to see a fruit stand. Who knew? So I see these fruit stands all up 49 around Hattiesburg and going north. And you get over in Alabama, they got fruit stands. And I'd really like to see us start out with that. And we have a lot of talent, and every community does, but we have a lot of talent. People, quilt makers. We have a guy that has a sawmill. He does outdoor furniture, beautiful outdoor furniture. But they need a place to put it so they can be seen. So I'd like to have enough property out there at some point to have a kind of like an open flea market to where they come out every day and they just display their stuff. And it gives them a leg up to where we can kind of be known as something instead of McLain. And that's something to work on. It's just part of my vision for the town. Like I said, I'm older, so I won't be living long enough to see it. But at some point, somebody's got to start it. And if we can just get it started, and the young people, like y'all, the young people will come in and take it over. When I first come in, I tried to get a youth mayor and a youth council. And what I wanted to do is everybody from 9 years old to 16 years old run for mayor and run for city council, aldermen, as they're known here. And once they get them elected, they come sit beside us in the meetings, because that's the only way we're ever going to train the young people the stuff that goes on in these little towns, cities, and stuff that needs to be handled. And you young people and kids are a whole lot smarter than we are. It take me 9 years to figure out something you can find out in 10 minutes on your phone. And you're a whole lot smarter than us. But you're just not motivated to take on a task, which is basically on a volunteer basis. You know, you get a little check, but You fill your car up about 3 times, it's gone. But you got to find young people that are motivated, that want to make a difference in communities. If you got a bigger city, you have bigger problems, but you got more money. Come to a small town, run that small town on a budget that's not bigger than the average family's budget, and try to do everything that's good for your community. It's really a tasking job. And our aldermen and our city clerks, they do a good job. I'm not here every day, I work on the coast, but the phone stays hot. But I encourage young people, being at USM, when you go back home, if you're from a small community, you don't have to be elected to get anything done. You just have to show up. And if you show up at the town hall meetings, you'll find out what your community needs. Not just town hall meetings, I'm talking about supervisor meetings, county supervisors. They're going to be talking about what the community needs, the money it needs, where to get the money, all that kind of stuff. You guys already know. I need a grant writer. Like I said, I'm in my 3rd term. I haven't got one yet, because I'm not smart enough to do it. But after y'all research what a grant writer is, that may be your career, because grant writers make pretty good money. And in small communities, they need a person. You know, if you're a grant writer, you come to McLain. We tell you what we need. You go find a grant. The next week, go to New Augusta, go to their meeting, find out what they need. Go find a grant. You can get you about 10 or 15 cities, and you're the grant writer for it. It's pretty good income. At home income. Just my suggestion. I'm trying to talk all 3 of you into being grant writers.
Do y'all have any further questions?
I do actually. Okay. First of all, I'm thinking about that grant writer. But, okay, so first of all, I wanted to ask, just off the top of your head, what is McLain's current population? How many people do you have in McLain as of right now?
Fluctuates a lot. I want to say 600, 500 or 600.
Okay.
Not very big, but we impact a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
The post office, if your address, a lot of people at the post office got McLain addresses, but they don't live within the city limits. And it's a small town, like I said, but we're trying to hold our head up and just get outside. And the main reason the churches and the town of McLain, I'm going to tell you the heart of the town of McLain, if we ever got to where we could get out there and get the tax money, we'd be helping the drug addicts. I know how these people work. The aldermen, they'd be setting up some kind of rehab center or something, you know. And that's basically what we're not trying to get rich. We're not trying to be a big metropolis, but we would like to have enough money to take care of our people and the people that come through. And that's the goal of our little community. Hattiesburg, you know, you got to run a town like you do a business. But the only problem is you don't want to make a big profit in that business, because if you're making a big profit, you're taxing your community too much, and you're charging too much for your services if you make a big profit. And with my politics, I'm not too much on taxes, but sometimes taxes are necessary, and it's hard for me to say that, but taxes are necessary.
And I did actually want to ask you about that, regarding the internet or the use tax. I don't know how much of an effect that might have on McLain, but do you guys find that helps a lot? Like, do you guys get any revenue from the internet tax?
If we do, it comes from the state, and I haven't seen a big increase in it. The state gets the money before we do, so some of it trickles, but not much.
Because I know, if I'm remembering correctly, they use tax, the money that does go to the towns is usually used, goes towards like infrastructure, so roads and waterways,
Right.
sewage, anything like that. I know you said you guys are trying to take control of the water association right now.
We have our own town water. Community right north of us are having trouble with their water association. So McLain's using, I think the last thing we have is 20% of our available water. And what we're doing is really trying to help the community. We're going to try to take over that water association and hook it on to ours so we can give them good water and good pressure and all that kind of stuff. Water's a big concern, not just natural concern, but if you have contaminated water, your cancer rates, they're higher. Mortality rates in children. And I've seen a little more, just me watching, you know, but nothing official, but and that's one reason I want to try to hook us on to them and give them affordable water, but good water. And that's what I'm working on.
Okay. And then I wanted to go back to the property that you guys are trying to annex right now, because that's really, really interesting to me. So you said it when you wanted to go about 2 miles towards Mobile.
Right.
And you want to have the police department, the fire department, the mayor's office kind of up off 98, so you
Right.
guys have more visibility. And you said you wanted to move the downtown area up there, correct?
Yeah, we really don't have a downtown area. Most of it now, since the highways have been moved. It used to be 4 or 5 gas stations here years ago. It used to be a booming little community. But after the road moved, we really don't have a business downtown area. We have a couple of businesses that are here, but they're close to the highway. But if we make the first step of moving our infrastructure, the buildings of the town of McLain out on 98, I'm hoping that it'll attract more business, because businesses are worried about security, and we have the biggest police department now we've ever had. Most qualified police department we've ever had. And if I can get moved out there, it kind of shows them that we're going to give you fire protection. We're going to give you police protection. And the town of McLain, we're going to support you in every way we can, whether it be water, sewer, whatever our responsibility is, we're going to try to take care of that. But the amount of Highway 98 we have in our city right now, the rivers on the west side, the swamps on the east side, it takes so much money to haul enough dirt in there just to put a building in. But if you get right on the other side of the bridge, out here on 98 Leaf River Bridge, the land comes up. So that's the reason I need to annex, so I can have land that's affordable for businesses to come in and be able to build next to the highway.
Okay. And then just out of curiosity, I don't know how far you guys are into that plan, but in the case that you are able to get that land annexed, let's say just hypothetically within the next year, do you guys have any kind of like building plans or layout plans for that downtown area? Is it still kind of up in the air right now?
It's in my head. I see it every day.
Okay.
You got to have a vision before you can put it on paper. And the reason that the way I want to annex MDOT right away. I don't want the homeowners having to pay higher taxes or anything. But I want to annex MDOT right away. So when they get this CDBG grant worked out, the grant system, that I can get a grant and put water and sewer to my limits down there. Then as people come in, homeowners and people like that, if they want to hook onto our sewer, we'll annex the property. And then as people buy property, we'll automatically annex that. And you know, it's not a big $10,000 a year deal to be a part of McLain. It's fairly cheap, you know, just in your city taxes. But we do furnish you water and sewer. And the EPA requires, they're trying to get away from septic tanks as much as possible. And they're trying to get away from water wells as much as possible. And individual wells. Because individual wells don't have to, nobody ever tests them to see if it's contaminated. It may taste good and look good, but it may not be. But, you know, in our water system, we have to have it tested. We have to have a certified water and sewer operator, required by law. And what comes out, we know it's good. You know, we're not perfect. We do have problems every now and then, but we straighten it up when it happens.
So then I guess my final part of that kind of little section is, with this upcoming state legislative session, do you or any of the council have any plans to kind of propose or request any kind of funding or resources for this annexing? Or do you guys have any certain grants in mind that you might want to apply for?
We're, see, anything you do with water and sewer right now, this system's getting old. And if I raise rates high enough to support the system, which should be the way it's done, you know, it should be independent. But when you've got people on fixed income, and you got people that basically unemployed, you've got to have a way to build your system back so you can attract new business. Because I'm not going to take a grant if I don't think it's going to save everybody money. Because when you get a grant, you're basically getting a loan from everybody that's paid into the system. All over the state of Mississippi. Every time you get a grant, you're basically borrowing money from the people from the state of Mississippi. So I'm not going to get a grant just to have a grant. I'm going to get a grant that would help us improve so we can put more tax money back into the system. And hopefully, just in my way of thinking, it's kind of like taking a loan out and I'm a good borrower. I want to be sure I pay it back in some kind of way. And that would be the way to do it. You know, not a grant to see what kind of flowers we have growing here. That's not going to work. But, you know, it's a complex deal. Close contact with our state representative, our state senator. The state representative used to be our town lawyer, and I have his phone number. And I have both of them's phone numbers, so if I have a problem or I need anything, usually that's the way it works. And if they see anything come up that may benefit us, they got my phone number and they usually call me. That's the kind of relationship you got to keep, you know.
Well, I have one more question and then I'm done.
Okay.
So we talked about, I know you just mentioned that there was a bit of a drug problem in McLain, you know, with some people who get on drugs and things like that, and the police force has been really good, and you've kind of gotten that down. We've actually kind of mentioned this with a couple of different other towns as well regarding mental health and substance abuse and things like that. If it was possible in the future, or if you guys already have one, do you guys have any kind of plans for maybe like a rehabilitation center that you'd like to implement?
I would love to have one. I'd love to have one in town. It's not feasible for us to have it. Maybe a grant system, they want us to have one. I'm open to putting it here. A lot of our drug addicts in town that are from here, I know them. I know their family. They're not bad people. They've got a problem. And a lot of them want to get past that problem, but they don't even know how to do it. They don't know where to start. And first off, if you're going to try to get away from drugs or alcohol or whatever it is, whatever your problem is, you got to get away from the people that's doing it. You know, you can't be the only one that goes to the same house every night and they're smoking crack, and you're the only ones, that's where all your friends are. You can go to all the rehabs you want to. But as soon as you get back, you fall back into the same routine, you're going to be back in the routine. So I'd like to see, along with the drug rehabs, it'd be some kind of planning. Help them get a job. Help them understand, what life's all about. A lot of people just get overwhelmed with day-to-day business of running a household. Nobody ever shows you in school, elementary school, junior high, high school, and I'm not sure they do it in the colleges either, but how to balance a checkbook, how to set a budget. Nobody ever, this whole time, and it's for us, I want to say what society calls normal people. It's second reaction. We know how to adapt and move on. But for a certain amount of people, that's overwhelming of trying to, and most of them have kids. And then you got it, not only for you, the burden of raising the kids usually falls on the grandparents, aunts, uncles, somebody. You spent most of your life at your mom and daddy's house, and you come out and you lived on the street and you done drugs. It looks like the end goal is so far that you can't reach it. So they give up. And basically there's only one way to get them to where they don't give up, and that's through Jesus Christ. If you can ever get them to a church that understands, and they'll talk to them, they'll help them. I got one girl here, it's a prime example. She was bad, I mean real bad. When she went to church, I don't think she ever went to rehab. When she went to church, she goes around now and gives her testimony. She is a good girl. But I knew she was a good girl when she was a drug addict. She just had a problem. So I think as a society, we need to help not only rehabilitate them, help them get a job, show them how to handle their money, show them how to set a budget, and don't be overwhelmed by everyday problems that we all have. It's just a part of life, paying your bills, and going to work every day, and like y'all, going to college so you make more money than the average person does. And trade schools are very important too. But I'm proud of y'all out here on Saturday trying to figure out and help me figure these problems out. And I'm sure you'll go back and watch this and you'll have some input, you'll have time to think about it. But y'all have my number, so you call me when you've come up with a good answer. And I don't know which one of you is going to show back up here and be my grant writer, but
Okay. I say, so Alexa's actually our political science. She's going to be kind of part of our head planner for next semester, so she's going to try to come and attend meetings and
I want you to.
So you'll probably see her face again. You'll probably see my face again.
I hope so.
Thank you. I was actually gonna talk to you a little bit more about that. Are we all?
I say, is there anything else?
Questions?
I don't think so.
I say, is there anything else that we may not have asked you that you think is worth mentioning, that you think is important?
It's just nothing. Y'all pretty well covered it. 2 seconds after I leave here, I have a better answer for you, so I have to call you and tell you.